You're listening to the ESO Network, your station for all things geek.
Hello and welcome to episode 212 of the SoulForge podcast.
Welcome to the SoulForge, a place of silent mystery, quiet contemplation, and outright mayhem. Join your host, Sean Vanderloo, as he guides you through the adventures of living. Together, we'll talk about life and love, sex and dating, joy and heartache, memories and loss, and so much more. Don't worry, it's not nearly as pretentious as it sounds. Get ready for life, the universe, and everything on the SoulForge.
Hey everybody, welcome back to another exciting episode of the show. I'm your host Sean, as always, and have I got a special episode for you this week? Not really, it's just a regular episode, but it's special because you're listening to it. Aww. Okay, so just a bunch of random topics to discuss, no major running theme throughout, but I'll see what I can do to tie it all together. So, before we begin, let's mention that next Friday is July 30th, and that is going to be the 4-year anniversary of the first episode that I released. Episode 212 next Thursday will be the 4-year anniversary episode, a day early, but that's okay. It's like an early gift for you guys and girls out there in podcast land. Now, if anybody wants to send me an email, an MP3, some kind of congratulations, greeting, questions, comments, concerns, anything like that to commemorate 4 years of podcasting on the SoulForge, or for any reason really, the email address for the podcast is soulforgepodcast@gmail.com. It's always great to hear from you listeners out there. You can leave a comment on the Facebook page, which I hope you've all joined, facebook.com/soulforgepodcast. Also, soulforgepodcast.com for all of the links. You can find our YouTube channel link there, the iTunes preview, if you want to leave a 5-star review in the iTunes store because you love the podcast so much. What else? There's all kinds of fun stuff on there. Just go check it out. And if you want to leave a donation for the show, you can do that as well in the coffee account. It's right there on the right-hand side of the website, and it's always appreciated. So what else is going on? Let's see. So that means next week is the 4-year anniversary episode. The week after that, normal released schedule would be August 5th. There may or may not be an episode that week because the week of August 1st is I'm on vacation and we may be going somewhere fun. We don't know. We'll talk about that in just a moment. Yeah, next week is... Well, next Friday is July 30th. I get the keys for that building that I'm buying to have my toy store in it. So it's coming up quick now. I gave myself 2 months to close, and that's almost over. So here we come. Last week I went to the bank and opened up a checking account specifically for the business. So that's all taken care of. I guess I better call the utilities to get those into my name because there's only just over a week left. So that's important. What else? Get the keys on the Friday, and then either Saturday or Sunday, we're heading out of town. The original plan was to go maybe to Ottawa, the nation's capital, and hit the Calypso Water Park, which is the largest water park in Canada, or so I'm told. We may stick closer to home and just go to Sudbury, which is about 3 hours away, and there's a water park there and all kinds of different stuff. Don't know. Hard to say. Future Sean and Julie will worry about that. Speaking of Sean and Julie and getting away from it all. Well, this past weekend, Julie and I managed to do just that. And I will tell you all about it right after these words from the ESO Network.
We're the Con Guys, coming to you straight from the nerdy heart of Hollywood, California. We are your home for news, opinions, and interviews from the world of Comic-Cons and fandoms, your ultimate insiders for all things
laboratory.
Hello everyone, Dr. Geek here with a shout out to all the scientists who worked tirelessly to bring a COVID-19 vaccine into reality. Let's face it, creating something of this magnitude is a miracle worthy of Dr. McCoy himself. And now, Dr. Geek needs you to do your part. Remember, each shot is one small step back to normal, one giant leap to putting the pandemic behind us. We can do this. For more information, visit vaccines.gov to find your nearest provider.
Okay, so this past weekend, Julie and I, we managed to find keepers for the dogs, and her daughter Malika went camping with friends, so we found ourselves with some very rare alone time. I can't even remember the last time we didn't have kids or dogs to take care of. So we got in my car and we went down to Mattawa. Do you know where Mattawa is? Probably not. If you look at the map of Ontario, you'll see that we are in Timmins, and about 3.5 hours away is North Bay, which I lived there for roughly 7 years, give or take. That's where I went to university, and so I know it pretty well. And my buddy Frank lives in Mattawa, which is about 45 minutes away from North Bay. So we went there and spent the weekend with him because I had to pick up all of those VHS tapes that he scored for me. I'm pretty sure I mentioned this before, but anyway, so what I've summoned all my friends to do is find deals so that I can stock my store. And so far, Frank is really the only one who's done that. He got me 30 VHS tapes of original Star Trek episodes, and then he came across 2,000 VHS tapes that a guy was selling for a really good price. So what I did was I loaded up some fire hose nozzles that I was selling to a guy who lives in Mattawa, a friend of Frank's, and he's a volunteer firefighter guy, and he collects old fireman stuff. So I just happened to have 2 old fire hose nozzles. So I sold those to that guy, gave the money to Frank, which paid for the VHS tapes, and then we brought them back. What else did we do though? We let's see, we got there Friday afternoon. We left after work, headed to North Bay, stopped at the mall because Julie hadn't really been to North Bay before. And so we get to the mall and we're walking to the door and she forgot her mask. So she walked back to the car. And as she's walking back to the car and I'm at the door waiting, the security guard closes the door because it's 6 o'clock. And apparently the mall closes at 6 o'clock on a Friday night. So we went into Walmart because my buddy Renee wanted me to find some Godzilla figures for him because can't find them here in Timmins. And lo and behold, we couldn't find them in North Bay either. So we did the Walmart thing and then we headed to Mattawa. That was Friday night. I don't think we did anything spectacular or special. We just introduced Julie to Frank and Martha. Why did you say that name? And after that, we chatted, No, we didn't have any drinks on Friday night, but we just talked and caught up and all kinds of fun stuff like that, and then went to bed. And Saturday morning rolled around, and Frank and I went to the 2 or 3 yard sales in Mattawa, and that was good. Got a few treasures that I put onto my Etsy store. And what else did we do on Saturday? We did that. Oh, and then Julie and I went into North Bay itself, and we just wanted to go exploring. So we went to the mall, and we went to some junk stores. And that's what we did Friday night as well. After the mall, I just drove downtown Main Street in North Bay because it's picturesque and very beautiful, and not anymore because COVID pretty much devastated the downtown and half the stores are gone. But we went to a antique type store and it was absolute junk. It was garbage. There was nothing in there that I wanted. But the guy said he had another store at a different location. So on Saturday we went to that location and it was garbage as well. I don't know how the guy stays in business with 2 locations that don't have anything that I would want in them. But we checked out a few different places, a couple different antique shops, and then we were going to head back to Mattawa for the evening. But I had to stop in and talk to my friend Gail, because there's still 5 or 6 people that I know in Mattawa, and the 2 main ones, not Mattawa, North Bay, and the 2 main people that I always have to visit are Frank and Gail. Chatted with Gail for about half an hour and then drove back, and we had dinner on Frank and Martha's back deck, and it was very nice. There were some flies, but not too many, and they have a beautiful garden, and it's really nice there, and I tried to convince Julie that we needed to move to either North Bay or Mattawa because it's so beautiful, but no, I think we're going to stay in Timmins. But anyway, we're walking inside, and there's a beautiful, gigantic jade plant that Martha has on the back deck, and Julie's like, "Oh, I like that. Can I have a cutting or something?" And Martha's like, "Well, actually, Sean has a jade plant here." And I'm like, "What?" And she's like, "Yes, you do." I'm like, "Oh, that's right." Because the last time I had seen Frank and Martha was 2 Augusts ago in 2019 when Sarah and I went to Dragon Con in Georgia. First, we stopped in Mattawa and was there for Frank and Martha's wedding. And they had given everybody a jade plant. And of course, I said, "Well, just keep it here for me because I've still got 2 weeks to go and I got to get down to Georgia to see Mike and Judy and the gang and go to Dragon Con, and I think the plant will die." And then I promptly forgot about it, but Martha didn't, and the pot for the jade plant still had my name on it. Luckily enough, Julie now has a jade plant that's 2 years old, so she didn't need a cutting at all. She got my jade plant, and there we go. So things just kind of work out. That was awesome. And then after dinner, we had some drinks and sat around the fire and stayed up way too late. And then Sunday morning came around, and Frank and Martha and I went to the little, not a festival, but they had some booths in the park that was selling jewelry and freeze-dried candy and walking sticks and vegetables and a bunch of random things. And so we did that. And then we loaded up as many VHS tapes as we could, and we headed home. Now, 2,000 VHS tapes sounds like a lot. And it is, because my car was only able to fit maybe 800 of the 2,000. So there are still about 12 banana boxes down in Frank and Martha's basement. So either I'll have to go down there and get the rest of them, or they'll have to come up here for a visit. Don't know yet, but that's a lot. And currently, the ones that I did bring back are all stored at my ex's house. That's right. My son Bishop's mom, Trisha, said, "You can store all these tapes here." So I did. And also, she watched Nimoy the dog, and her daughter, her older daughter, Bishop's older sister, watched the other dog, Daisy. So yeah, we still have a good, close relationship. It's a good idea to have a good working relationship with your exes. So things just kind of work out that way. And the trip back was long, about 5 hours, but it was uneventful. But a cool thing happened on the way back home. Just looking out the window of the car, just minding my own business. And what did I see flying by the highway on a flatbed truck? You guessed it. The purple El Camino from last week's episode. Remember I was telling you a guy was selling a 1977 purple El Camino for $5,000? Well, either it was being moved or somebody bought it because it was on the back of a flatbed and it passed us on the highway. And I'm like, wow, that's cool. I don't know if that's ironic or not, but it's kind of neat. So yeah, so that's pretty much what happened. Let me see what else I've got on my list of things I wanted to talk about. Julie and I and her daughter last night went to go see Black Widow in the movie theater. It had been forever since I'd seen a movie in the theater. I think the last one was Tenet last fall, and that was a horrible, screechy movie. But before that, I think it was in February when I went to see Birds of Prey with Brother Robin when he was still here in town. So we went and saw Black Widow. It was good. I enjoyed it. They seem to enjoy it. Julie's not into the Marvel Universe. Malika kind of is, but I made them stay till the end credits to watch the end scene, and they didn't complain too much. So that was all right. And speaking of Black Widow, I'm going to have to wrap up this podcast recording pretty soon because at 4 o'clock, and it's 3:35 right now. So at 4 p.m., the British boys and I are going to record the next episode of the Cosmic Pizza Podcast. And what are we talking about on this week's episode? We are talking about alternate superheroes. Now, did I mention this before? I'm not sure. But for example, during one of our last recordings, we were just messing around at the end after the main recording was done, and then we started talking about superheroes, and we were talking about if any of us had watched Loki on Disney Plus, and then it got us talking about low key instead of Loki, like that guy's really low key. He's mellow. So then we thought, well, the next episode should be about alternate superheroes. So that's what we're going to do pretty soon, coming up in about 20 minutes. So just to finish up here, I did see Black Widow, or as they should call it, Butt Shot Deluxe. I've never seen so many butt shots in a movie before. Now, don't get me wrong, Scarlett Johansson has a great butt, but holy geez, there was so many butt shots, and the director was a female, so you'd think a dude would direct it and show off her butt because, well, why not? But it was her butt, it was her movie sister's butt, it was David Harbour's butt, it was everybody's butt that you could show a butt. It was in there. It was butts everywhere. Butt deluxe shot, supreme, whatever. So yeah, it was just really surprising. But it was okay for a prequel, or not for a prequel really, but well, it takes place in the past because, as we all know, spoiler alert if you don't, Scarlett Johansson's Black Widow character is dead in the Marvel Cinematic Universe because she died at the end of Avengers Endgame. So this takes place around the time of Captain America Civil War, which was a few years before that, so whatever. Anyway, that's what was going on there. So that's cool. Good movie. It was nice to get back to the theater because it had been way too long. And then the only other thing I have on my list here is the Billionaire Spacemen. We've got Elon Musk and his SpaceX company, and that's doing really well. And I think it was last week, Richard Branson, who owns Virgin and Virgin Galactic and whatever he calls his space empire, he went up into space in his space plane. And just the other day, Jeff Bezos, the founder of Amazon, just went up into space as well. So all the billionaire spacemen are going up in space and doing their things and showing off their rockets and all that kind of stuff. And all the memes this week have been about, okay, all these spacemen are billionaires or spacemen, and it's great, and they're competing with each other. But how about competing to solve the world's hunger problems and the climate problems and all this? So, and the only other billionaire that's not going up into space is Bill Gates, and he's got his foundation, which is trying to help people, but he's going through divorce, so I don't know how that's all working out for him. But anyway, I am not a billionaire spaceman, but if I was a billionaire, I'd probably try to get into space too, because I've wanted to go ever since I was a kid. So anyway, that's it. That's all I wanted to talk about. Next week is going to be the 4-year anniversary episode. I don't know what I'm going to talk about next week either, but if you have any comments, questions, concerns, or ideas, soulforgepodcast@gmail.com. That would be great. Other than that, I hope you're all doing well. If you could leave a 5-star review in the podcatcher of your choice, that would be awesome. There's more I could talk about, but I'm not going to because I got to get prepared for the alternate superhero episode of Cosmic Pizza, which I hope you're all listening to Cosmic Pizza because it's pretty great. So anyway, take care, and remember, because I don't want to is a good enough reason. Thank you for listening to another episode of the Soul Forge Podcast. Your support is greatly appreciated, and we hope you'll tune in again next time. Remember that you can visit soulforgepodcast.com for all of our social media links, and don't forget to share the show with everyone you know. The Soul Forge Podcast is your best source for living your best life.
Think about it.
Is it better to be feared or respected? And I say, is it too much to ask for both? That's how Dad did it. That's how America does it. And it's worked out pretty well so far.
This has been a broadcast of the ESO Network. Be part of the crew and help support our shows by donating to our ESO Patreon or by shopping for the TeePublic store, which can all be found at www.esonetwork.com. The ESO Network, your station for all things geek.